and clap'ems. That's gonna make it so much harder. There we go. That one. That's the one we'll use. Oh.
You want to do it again?
No, you can't. I've seen the way you operate. You were ready. You were so ready.
I'm a terror.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Blunt People Podcast, Episode 7. We didn't go away. We only got stronger, and now we're back for more. And this podcast is for comedians who get together with their different perspectives and worldviews, and they write segments to share with each other on varying topics. I'm one of those. My name is Travis Nelson, and over here is...
I'm Aaron Engel.
And over there is...
Vanessa Don.
And farther over there, I'm Chase Myers, guys.
Yeah.
That was so 90s sitcom.
Yeah. I feel like that's part of our vibe, though. We gotta. That's our brand.
Bunch of 90s kids. Of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. I'll be Bob Saget. And
Of course you will.
yeah.
Can I be the Olsen twins?
Yeah.
I want to be on. I'll be Uncle
Okay,
Jesse.
Wait, we did a preemptive spin. So Vanessa's going first, I'm going second, Chase is going third, and Aaron is closing it out.
Aaron closes.
Yeah.
All
Vanessa's
right.
up first.
All right, y'all ready? It's Nessa with the news.
Nessa with the news.
Roll tape?
Huh?
On the
Oh,
news.
I was like,
I feel like it was like a newsroom thing to say.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about Alec Baldwin first.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Yes, as many of you may know, he is under fire for
Professional.
accidentally shooting someone on set. But they just dropped the enhanced firearm charge, so now all he faces is the involuntary manslaughter charge, which is only like 18 months.
They died, right?
But
Yeah.
someone died, so I'm like 18. I mean, like, also Suge Knight killed someone and got like 18 months, so I don't know.
This was different than that. That's not.
That's not admissible in court. Vanessa.
Are you a lawyer?
That was neither here nor there.
Your Honor, I'd like to reference the people versus Suge Knight. If he can kill,
Look,
my man Alec. No. But nah, I don't know what to think.
a precedent has been set.
so I never really like completely dug in because so Alec is like the producer of the show and like of the movie and everything, because to me, wouldn't that fall on like whoever the production company
Yeah, like
is,
their insurance
that they
or whatever?
didn't like gimmick
You
the
would
gun?
think,
Yeah.
Like, why is it the actor, unless he's the one that it's his production company, he's...
I brought my own propaganda.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. Then I could see it being his fault, but otherwise, isn't that, like, against them?
I would say so, but at the same time, I'm like,
Am I responsible for everything that happens in a movie?
even if
in
you
a...
think it's like a blank, you still kind of pointed it at someone, you know.
What the
And
script
it was-
says.
So I'm like, I
I
don't
bring
know
the script in court.
how
and
I
be like,
feel.
"Sir, right
Yeah.
here.
because someone died, but he
that's
didn't
horrible.
know, like he didn't bring his own gun. What y'all think?
Well, I need you to
Guilty or not
explain what
guilty?
actually happened to me.
Oh, so what happened was basically there wasn't supposed to be any live rounds on set
Right.
at all. It was just supposed to be a prop gun.
Okay.
Turned out it was a live gun. He didn't know, picked it up, fired it, ended up killing one of the people in the production team.
So he picked. There was just a live gun laying around, and he just picked it up and was like, ha ha.
Well, I mean, he was supposed to use it in the scene.
Oh, he was in the
yeah,
scene.
Yeah. He was
Okay.
supposed to use it. They were just
So they
kind
were
of
shooting at that
practicing.
point?
I see. That's where it gets unclear.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
I had always
yeah,
understood it that
that's-
way, that it was like it was a scene, he was shooting a scene, it's a scene where he had to use a gun. That's the way I always understood it,
Yeah.
but I never like dug in enough to like...
Yeah, because it doesn't even say in the article if this was like, oh, they were actually filming said scene at the time, or it was just like
I think it's
they
just at
were
the
on
craft
set.
table
You know what I
wilding.
mean?
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's not. Like, and also I'm like, I feel like if they were filming,
Oh, that'd be so macabre.
yeah.
However you say that.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit of the idea of an R afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just to have that on camera.
Exactly. I'm like, ooh. But at the same time, like, people are sick. If it was on camera, it would definitely probably be on the internet.
Yeah.
I feel
or
like
at least in court.
You know, that would get leaked. It's like
For
it's
sure.
too high profile not to
Yeah.
have some hacker in it.
So that's
Yeah.
what leads me to believe this was like we're just a run through off
Yeah.
camera moment.
that feels like it shouldn't be his liability. I mean, yes, somebody died, but like,
Yeah, but he didn't. Yeah, it wasn't.
He's
on
doing
purpose.
his job, and you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
That's like
I
Wiggly's
mean,
though.
I guess maybe you would. Because what are you supposed to? You'd like take what you assume is a toy gun and point it and fire it at the ground a few
First,
times.
yeah,
Or?
like in the air or something. Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? No one's gonna do that. I think they think it's a toy.
Yeah, I think a good point to make here is that like none of us are actors, so we should know how that works, and Alec Baldwin probably really should know how that works, right?
Yeah,
I think that's a good point of it too. I'm just trying to think of like how he could be culpable for it, and it's like I guess just maybe like you're responsible for knowing that kind of stuff if you're.
Yeah, I feel like if he has a production company or something like that, and that production company's making this movie, then yeah, I guess it does go to him. But if he's just an actor in some movie, and
I
these
think
are the
he was
props they laid out for him and stuff, like I don't,
yeah. I'm pretty sure he was just acting.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Tough.
Brutal.
we'll
I mean,
see
he-
what happens.
Not a lot of yucks on that one, Vanessa. That was pretty dark.
Like when I picked
The
it, I
Suge
was
Knight
just like,
thing was
yeah,
good.
people know about this. Let's discuss. But it did get darker than I had planned. All right, we're gonna
Suge
go.
Knight was the happiest point of that story.
Well,
That's
always,
never happened in any story.
we'll always have the people versus Suge Knight.
Yeah.
All right, on a happier note, kind of.
Here we go.
I guess depending
Yeah,
on
don't promise.
who you ask,
yeah.
right? People are mad because they are changing books again for censorship reasons. Like, Roland Dahl. So he wrote.
Roald Dahl?
Hell yeah.
Oh, is that how you say this shit?
I think so,
Roald.
right?
Yeah,
Roald?
Oh, you're
It's like
right.
R-O-A-L-D.
You're right. There's no.
Roald.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like the Berenstain Bears, where when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I remember it being spelled a different way, and then
Yeah.
when I got older, I realized it wasn't.
I also went to Oklahoma Public School, so like, my teacher could have been saying it.
You also went to college.
It was an Oklahoma Public College. I thought it was some shit, so I moved, and I was like, oh, yo.
And your Roald Dahl days are behind you once you get to college.
That is
too.
true. Yeah, yeah.
You only get those early exposures.
No.
True. But if you don't know, you probably do know, because he wrote Matilda, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory,
Big
James
friendly
and the
giant.
Peach, all of that.
Just
It resonate with you, pal?
getting that out there.
I was just shitting on Travis.
No, just people bringing it up to me all the fucking time. So
I could see
I've been
that.
forced to be aware of Roald Dahl's The BFG.
Why don't we not call you that?
Yeah.
Because you're my friends.
We don't torment you.
Yeah.
Touche.
Because a man can only be pushed so far.
But they're mad because Penguin Publishing, the people who put out the books,
Right.
have decided they're going to change the language to make it more friendly and
So
less
they got some-
controversial.
They got some N words in those books?
No, it's just like the words like fat and crazy. They're taking that
Oh,
out.
okay.
So they're like, all right, we don't really say that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So let's change it up. And some people are like, no, you're messing up the book.
Yeah.
You can't do that. And I mean, like, some of the, like, all right, I got a direct quote.
Please. Please do.
Just for example.
This
This
fat,
one-
crazy bitch.
I remember that book.
the 90s, right?
And Timothy said, "You fat slut."
So in James and the Giant Peach, the original, it said, Aunt Sponge was terrifically fat and tremendously flabby at that. And Aunt Spiker was thin as a wire and dry as a bone, only drier. But now it says, Aunt Sponge was a nasty old brute and deserved to be squashed by the fruit. Aunt Spiker was much the same and deserves half the blame.
I didn't feel like there was so much blame in the first one. I thought it was just
Yeah.
a description. Now it's like
Made
this.
it more.
Yeah, now it's like this fat person deserves to die. Is what the second one sounded like.
I also didn't like the way they rhymed it. I
You didn't like that?
it seemed pretty basic to me. I felt like they could have done a better job if they're going to rewrite it. I mean,
They could have crushed it.
Yeah,
A little harder.
Yeah. You had all
See
these
that
years.
that's also interesting because I just thought like you replace fat with like a more sensitive, like
I was- I thought
obese
that's where I was gonna
or
go.
something
Yeah.
like that. I didn't know you rewrite that whole.
I don't know why you do. Also, like, this is sort of anti, like, I feel like the real front of the movement around, like, fatness is to be like, it's okay to be fat. And
Yeah,
not,
like embrace it.
yeah, and so, and like, there wasn't anything, I mean, I don't remember the rest of the book. They're probably evil aunties, right? But,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
one's fat, one's skinny. Like, that's classic. That's, like, a classic kids'
Yeah.
book thing. And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, okay, so maybe it's like the fat person is the bad guy, but
Yeah, it sounded like they were both the bad guy, low key, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
It just wasn't.
if I had to formulate a take on this,
You
out
must.
of nowhere,
And you did.
And you will.
yeah. Well, I just think it's like I think it's being presented as like this culture war thing when really what it is just like an IP like business decision for like intellectual property.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like the people who own it being like, let's switch it up so we don't have to deal with anything and we can keep making as much money as possible
Yeah.
like on this IP without having to like, you know. And so to me it just is one of those things where it's just kind of gross that like for like, you know, because of a bottom line, you're going to go back and change like what he wrote. But also, like, I don't know that Roald Dahl was that great of a dude. I remember liking some of his books, so like, but maybe some of his stuff needed to get changed. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, I think that is like I agree with that. That like it's to clear up stuff, maybe future problems you might have, but also it like creates like an immediate like. I haven't talked about these books in years. Suddenly we're talking about it. Like it will this will cause a spike in sales like immediately for it. So it is you're going to get an increase in sales now. You won't have the problems later of fat or whatever that probably wasn't going to be a problem.
Yeah.
But now you've kind of
Yeah.
you've stirred up a conversation about it. So,
A new printing of it.
A new printing of it.
Impulsive weirdos might be buying all the old copies that you haven't sold.
So they have
yeah,
the originals.
yeah.
Like you've built up your own controversy, and it's of something that really wasn't. Yeah.
We really got down to the bottom of this, guys.
I
Quite
think we
quickly.
figured it out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I gotta say though, like, there's gotta be new books. You know, like, if you're worried about showing your kids something that has dated language or whatever, get them a new book. There's a million new books
That's
for
kind of what I was
kids all the
thinking.
time.
I'm like, I feel like we gotta learn from the past and then like write better shit for the
Therein lies
future.
the problem, though, is like it's the reason why they just keep reusing old books is the same reason why they keep remaking the same movies and stuff. Is that like familiarity is so much easier to promote than something new, so they would rather reboot something they've already found to be a successful model than take a chance on something. And like
You say
again,
this
it,
is Random House or somebody who
Yeah,
the publisher is.
Yeah, Penguin Publishing.
Penguin.
Yeah.
Like Penguin's struggling.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not. Because, a lot of it, like, in the Oompa Loompa one, like, well, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it's not too bad at
Oompa
at
Loompa
first,
one.
you know? Because, at
Was
first...
that Oompa Loompa movie?
Wizard of Oz? It was Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
I'm the sequel.
But now, they, like, instead of calling them fat, they
The
call them
Oompa
enormous. And I'm like, I feel like that's worse.
I thought they were small.
Yeah, so...
Aren't they
instead-
short little dudes? Short little orange guys?
Yeah, they used to be like they were described as small men, tiny, and no higher than my knee. That is all gone. So now they're small people because they're trying to be gender neutral.
Who cares if it's a girl
Yeah.
Oompa Loompa?
And instead of fat, they're enormous.
I think they're
small
slaves
people.
in that chocolate factory. I
They're
don't give a
definitely
fuck.
slaves.
Yeah.
They can't leave.
No, they
Don't
gotta-
they
You've
do not
never
get a
seen
check.
one in the wild.
And
I
none of
want
them,
my slave staff of my chocolate shop to be very equitable, you know?
Yeah.
I want it to be representative.
like a college pamphlet.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yes, I'm
Well,
like, I don't think
Wasn't
anyone
it-
was offended.
Are they only talking about the Oompa Loompas? Because one of
Only
the girls
the
in there,
Oompa.
does one of the girls like eat a bunch? Or isn't it like one of the kids
Oh.
eats a bunch?
Yeah.
Augustus Gloop,
They
I
like
believe.
drown the kid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're,
Yeah.
like, they're worried about the Oompa Loompas being chunky.
Oh, there's a bunch
Right?
of child death.
They're like,
Yeah, it's
this
not
is
child
what's
death.
going to get the
Like, we keep the child death, but these Oompa Loompas
Yeah.
gotta be svelte.
Child death pays the
We will respect these small people.
Yeah.
bills. Wowee.
Yeah, so I'm just like, damn.
Who's driving this car?
I don't even know, but it might be what Chase said.
Yeah.
Like, just to create that,
Yeah.
you know?
They're like, it's the 36th or whatever, 57th anniversary of something. We should just
Yeah.
really lean in, get some new books on these shelves.
Right.
Yeah.
New of the same book.
Crazy.
Dude.
Wow.
Good poll.
Right?
Good
Yeah.
news poll.
And honorable mention story.
Oh! Slick number 3 sliding in.
It's gonna be a quick one. It's gonna be
Just
a quick
Tokyo
one.
drifting through the finish line. Akira slide. Surprise story.
And it's about who? Tiger Woods is back in the news.
I know what this story is.
Give me
You
this.
know,
I know what this story is.
So Tiger Woods is back in the news for, it's not us this time, ladies, though. So what happened is,
It's not your fault, ladies.
It's not us
This
this
time
time.
it's not your fault.
we weren't involved in this one. So he was at a golf tournament, and he
That's
hit the ball a little
frequencies.
further than his opponent,
Mm-hmm.
and so he looked over at Justin Thomas and handed him a tampon, which I feel like is the nicest way of being like, you're a bitch. But at the same time, why you got a tampon, Tiger? Where you
Yeah,
get
that's
that?
what I was just.
Also, is that a nice way to say you're a bitch? Seems like a very
Non-verbal way, I should say. Maybe not the nicest, but it's,
Yeah.
it's the non-verbal way.
I mean, you haven't said it, but now he's got to hold on to a tampon that really
Yeah.
implies that you did say it.
I actually blame Justin Thomas in this. This is his. I'm victim blaming him. Because they're buddies, like they're really close or whatever, and they like play pranks on each other. And the reason why this was like caught is because Justin Thomas, instead of being like hi and putting it in his pocket,
Slap that shit.
just left it on the ground, and so everybody
Swatted
saw it.
it.
Yeah, everybody saw it.
So-
And now Tiger's at the. He hasn't played since the Masters of last year.
Yeah.
This is like a comeback. Like he hasn't played in close to a year,
Yeah.
and he's in his first press conference having to be like, "I'm so sorry. He's my friend."
He
I
did
was- it was
apologize. He did
insensitive,"
apologize.
or whatever. Yeah, but yeah, no, I blame Justin Thomas for not being a good sport. Being like,
That's funny because putting myself in his spot, I think that's the funniest thing he could have done, and that's also what I would have done.
Yeah,
It's
about
like,
that.
oh, you're gonna hand me a tampon? Like, just drop it. Like, why did he hand me a tampon? Everyone? Why would Tiger Woods
and me.
And like that's
Me, Travis Nelson.
that's the only way to reverse the prank. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is true.
about
He did
winning.
win. Justin
Yeah.
Thomas did win that prank.
Yeah, you did.
That's funny. This is something that I saw as like one of these things that I like saw some internet like backsplash about it, and I was like, I have no idea what the original thing that happened was. It was just about, like something about tampons and
Yeah.
Tiger Woods.
I thought somebody gave Tiger Woods a tampon or threw it at him or.
I just saw a picture of like a white hand slipping a tampon into Tiger's hand, and I was like, I think I get what this is.
Huh.
I didn't though. That's not what I thought.
I was like, It's like the
That was a
reverse.
tampon ad.
Yeah, I did. I thought they got a new sponsorship or something. I thought it was like some
It's
like
sponsored by the PGA.
yeah, it's like,
Tampacks.
you know, it's like guerrilla marketing kind of. It's just good enough for Tiger. It's good enough for you, ladies.
Also, like,
There are also female golfers, but
Right, there's
we
an
decided
LPGA.
to.
There's an LPGA.
Is there any other professional sport that chooses L instead of W?
I think it's just them. I think they're the.
I never thought about that.
It's the
The
ladies.
ladies.
It's for the ladies.
Right.
It's just that little condescension. They can't help just a little bit.
I think it's overly proper. Is like
Yeah.
my
A little,
I'm like.
yeah.
ooh.
But also, they're like the bougiest sport
Mm-hmm.
besides tennis, I guess.
What about tennis? What's pro tennis?
Yeah, tennis. And,
What's the tennis
I
leagues?
think it's just women's tennis.
I'm trying to think of what they even
Is it
call
like national tennis? When
I'd tell the international, right? Because they be having Wimbledon and shit.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of like what the
Oh, the
actual
nation-
like are they like
the league.
like
Is there a
MLB,
Yeah,
NBA?
yeah. Is
Like
there
what
that?
is tennis's thing? I actually don't know. Which is
PGA.
PGA is
Is it
golf.
LPGA?
Well, that's the
That's what I said,
ladies
that's
golf.
ladies.
That's Ladies Professional Golf Association.
I'm
But we're
very
talking
dumb.
tennis.
We're talking
I
rackets.
thought I could just throw an abbreviation out there and we could move on.
Is it LGBT?
It's a WTA,
Okay.
Oh,
Women's
there's
Tennis
and then
Association.
is it
And it's
is the other one
TA?
TA
Is the-
MTA? Like a
Or,
what the boys got?
yeah. Get on it.
PTA. Penis. Tennis Association.
That would be funny.
And we're gonna find out.
Right?
What do we call boys tennis?
ATP?
ATP. That's what cells use for
American
energy.
Tennis
Professionals?
Huh.
Which
Which is funny. Like even if you watch ESPN and they show like scores on the bottom, it just says tennis. It just says tennis,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
whatever the so it doesn't even do like that's. I was thinking, I was like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody use the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but PGA is like one piece of the golfing play.
Yeah, there's actually
Yeah.
different leagues or whatever. So
versus,
that, yeah.
versus your
There's a live LIV is like another one or whatever. Yeah.
well shit.
Good
What
job,
a-
Good job, Vanessa. She did it.
Goodly done.
All right, who we got?
Kick it over
Trangus
to
time.
Trangus time.
Hey.
Clock it in.
It's Trangus time.
Everybody. Everybody.
I wanted to switch it up because I know I've been making you guys a little uncomfortable with like history and biology stuff. You mentioned you didn't
History?
like. Yeah.
You think we don't like history?
I think it's because you mix the history with science.
Oh, okay. Well, it's all going to
We're
be
anti-science.
It's all going to be like this. All right. So
Give us a Bible story.
We're more about feelings.
today we're going to learn about a man named Noah.
I love this story.
No, I was going to go sci-fi with it. I was going to go a little science fiction.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I noticed with all the news about the U.S. military shooting down the Chinese balloons, which
all the US
Philip Kopczynski actually had a really funny observation on that, was he said, it's funny they keep calling them that because technically, like, all balloons are Chinese balloons. He's like, that's where balloons are made.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's like, it's too bad that's going to be out of the news cycle in like a week because that's a funny joke.
Mm-hmm.
But there was some like UFO stuff or whatever.
Yeah, we just kind of glanced over. We
Yeah.
just all
And by
That sounds right.
Yeah. Haven't done the research on that, but just because this is on tape and I have a chance to say this, so maybe I look smart in the future. What I think it was is I saw they upgraded the like radar, and I think that's why they noticed the Chinese balloons. And then I also think one of the two UFOs they shot down, some people came forward and were like, we think that was our like little amateur project. We had sent this whole thing up to like measure weather just for fun, and they shot that down. So I think maybe
it's shooting down the Doppler radar.
yeah. It just does kind of seem like, I don't know if that's true or not, and like who knows, because it's like it's tough to tell with that kind of stuff. There's so many layers of like spin to it. But I kind of think like when it all shakes out, it's just going to be like, oh no, what, I'm going to do an Freedom of Information Act request to see what happened. I'm sure it'll be redacted, but maybe it's just going to be like we oversensitized the radar and freaked out a couple times. But
All right, put it on the record.
right.
Yeah.
On the record. So what I want to talk about is something that's called the Fermi paradox. Have you guys ever heard of that?
I believe I have.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like there's a bunch of YouTube videos that are really popular that kind of explain it, because it's like a very common like stoner, like whoa kind of like thought.
Can I make my recollective guess at it?
Actually, yeah. But before you do, let's the three of you guess what you think it is, and then I'm going to tell you what it is.
I have no idea.
Yeah. No. But that's what makes it fun.
Who's having fun?
Yeah.
So guess something that stoners would muse about on
shit.
something's
I
about
told you.
space.
I told you
And it's a
sci-fi. I
paradox?
told you UFO. I told you paradox.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you what it is, and then I'm going to gloss over. I'm going to explain it real quick because it's not that complicated. And then I'm going to tell you like what I think like the coolest theories about it are, and then maybe you guys can either come up with your own theory or tell me which theory is your favorite.
Okay. I love theories.
All right.
It's that stuff that they show in sci-fi movies are actually true. Like those things actually
Paradoxically.
Yeah. How's that a paradox?
I don't know, buddy. I'm just
All
getting
right,
one out there.
I shouldn't have put that on you. I'm sorry,
There we
man.
go,
I'm sorry.
I like what
The
you're
goal is
saying,
get an
though.
answer.
Just
I like what you're saying. Like everything in the movie has already happened, and that's why
Good.
they know about it. We just don't.
It's all true.
Oh.
Okay.
So writing's not real.
Exactly.
In your case, the paradox is there's no such thing as writers.
No one actually
Travis, I
has an
wanted none of this.
imagination.
Okay, to be clear.
You made me do this.
I was down to learn.
I offered to make one guess and make everybody else do it.
Public school, Travis.
I'm in public school too.
Come work it out on the board real quick.
I almost did bring. I almost did like a whole Dimitri Martin thing for you guys.
Yeah, something.
One day.
Yeah, one day.
Live show. Blunt People live
Show
show.
and tell.
It's funny because I think all four of us have a different idea of what the show is, and for me, it very much is forcing you guys to listen to my bullshit and making you do things and pimping you
You
out.
do make us do things.
I do?
Yes. But I love you. It's nice to have chores with your friends.
Friendship chores.
Wait, do I get to make my guess?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I kind of maybe know what it is.
Okay.
Is it that like we must either be alone as intelligent life in space, or they already came and found us and we're like, nah.
Pretty much. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah?
Yeah. Aaron got
So
it.
we'll never meet them because they've either already been here or we're alone.
They already
Well,
done
that's
it.
so the just the paradox, because there's the paradox and then it like branches off to a million different like things.
Okay.
So the paradox, it's named after this dude Enrico Fermi, which was like he was a nuclear physicist, I think, and in like 1950 He was in New Mexico at their like nuclear. I actually wrote it down.
I was gonna say, you're doing this off the dome, Travis?
I know, right?
With dates?
No, in 1950, at Los Alamos National Laboratory, New Mexico, there's like a group of nuclear physicists all together having lunch, and I guess there was a comic in the paper that day, and it was just like aliens stealing trash cans from New York City or something like that. Just a silly cartoon.
Yeah.
But it got them talking about it, and then this guy famously said some version of like, if they exist, like, where are they? Because once you actually like look at the math of like how large like physically the universe is, and you start actually going based on like like what we know right now and the best estimates by scientists, it does kind of get confusing because it's like there's so many different stars. There's 200 to 400 billion stars just in the Milky Way, which is our local galaxy, and 70 sextillion in the observable universe.
I don't know that is.
Yeah, so that's just like
A lot.
Basically like you can think of it as infinity almost. It's like such a huge, crazy number, and so they're running it, and even if like a very small percentage of those stars can actually have like a habitable planet for life, given how much space there is, it doesn't make sense that like if there was an intelligent life in the universe, why we haven't seen any signs of it, right? So
Yeah. To bring it back to my theory,
writing doesn't exist.
this sounds like Men in Black.
Oh,
is what
that-
it's a very Men in Black situation. So.
Right.
Right.
So yeah, they figured if interstellar travel is possible, even the slow kind. So like by the slow kind, I mean like if you travel at the speed of light, that's like as fast as we think we can go.
Like
But
a
even that
bridge.
is like that's like
It's gonna take a while to get.
Yeah.
yeah. Like, but even if they had that, you could technically colonize our galaxy in, they said, 5 million to 50 million years, which is pretty wide range, and you're going to see a lot of that in this, like, because they're like, we don't really know. It's just a fun thing to think
Yeah.
about.
So if you were if some intelligent life could travel at light speed, they could do this in 5 to 50 million years. Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of the stars are much older than our sun, and the universe is estimated to be 13.8 billion years old. So it is kind of crazy. It's like, oh, well, like, I wonder why that hasn't happened or that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? It just seems like at some point it would have. And so then we have something called the Drake equation, which is a guy, Frank Drake, like, started thinking about this, and he made this whole equation of, like, it's a complicated equation, but it basically is the equation to see how likely it is that we would find intelligent life in the universe. And so people were running different numbers through because no one has like real numbers. But there's this group called the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, and like Carl Sagan was in it. It was like really big in the 60s, and they got together and estimated 1,000 to 100,000 or 1,000 to 100 million in the Milky Way galaxy alone chances of finding like intelligent life. And then
1 in 1,000?
No, 1,000 to 100 million different planets they thought could have habitable life.
Okay.
Yeah. And there was also these guys who came up with what they call the Hart-Tipler conjecture, which they said if there ever was like intelligent life. So basically, if life was intelligent enough for space travel, like A, they're going to have weapons that could destroy us, and like B, we would have already gotten space probes, because they're like, there's no cost really in terms of life or anything to send out probes. So if these alien technology, like if alien technology is that advanced, we would already have like these probes and have like been like.
And we're sure that they're not living underneath Mexico.
Well, we don't know.
We are not sure.
Yeah. I mean, that is another solution to the.
Is that they're
Fermi
here
paradox.
already?
There's the two simplest
Men in
ones.
Black.
They don't exist, but they're already here. We're kind of in between that space.
Okay, all right.
Well,
Yeah.
it's like the simulation thing
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
That's one of the
yeah.
theories, actually.
Ooh.
So
I'm excited to hear that one.
yeah, before I let's see,
Can you do some-
I just want to cover like a couple of these things before we start getting into the theories,
Okay.
and I start losing it. So, yeah, and then Tipler, Frank Tipler, and John D. Barov used pessimistic numbers, so they're like, all right, we're going to be a little more
It's a
cynical.
very negative note.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were glass half full with their numbers,
Right.
and they figured that the chance of having a civilization in a galaxy is less than 1. So that kind of tells you that, like, all right, no one
How
knows what
many
they're really
galaxies
talking
are
about.
there?
A lot.
We don't know.
We don't even know how many galaxies there are.
No, but within the observable universe, which is as far as we can see with our telescopes, they said they think there's 70 sextillion stars.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's a lot. Excuse me. So yeah, other
Nice to have
simple.
big water here.
Yeah.
You want some?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Other simple solutions, so we can just get past those, is we haven't been around long enough to run into life.
Sure.
So we've been here for a pretty short amount of time. So maybe just the universe is so vast, whatever life is out there hasn't reached us.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like, maybe they just haven't come to our area yet, or maybe they're just kind of focused on their own areas.
Speaking to myself.
Yeah, there's another one, basically, and some of this is in the theories, but there's a theory that intelligent life destroys itself, which I think is actually pretty poignant nowadays, where it's like,
For sure.
if you get to the point where you are a civilization that's able to, like, generate and create and use energy, you're, there's a good chance, like we have kind of done, we're going to generate greenhouse gases.
Nuke each other to death. Or,
Yeah.
Well, that's the other one. Intelligent life destroys others is like another thing where it's like, if you're, if we went to another planet, would we respect the life that was there? Or, you know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
Right,
Absolutely not.
Absolutely. We wouldn't even know what it was. Probably.
No.
You're trying to colonize that shit. Like
We would be like, this is a great chance to try out nukes in space.
Handing out blankets. Here we
Yeah.
go.
Have you heard of Jesus? Just walk this way. We want this
Well,
way.
famously, that's what happens in the War of the Worlds. Is all the aliens get
More
Yeah.
points for Chase's theory.
Chase has read Orson Welles' War of the Worlds, or
But I know there's no writers in Orson Welles' world.
it happened.
Yeah, it happens based on what you're about to say.
No, the aliens, like, they're just kicking everyone's ass, and then they all get sick because they're not used to the pathogens on Earth.
Oh.
And then another easy one is, like, alien technology is just imperceivable to us. So
Yeah.
if you think about technology, like the way we used to have technology versus how we have it now, and then you try to, like, multiply that again and just imagine what the next step in technology would even be.
Yeah.
Like, you think maybe they're
Like they have a literal cloud.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're way ahead. We can't even think
They
about
just like
that.
it.
Yeah,
It
and-
moves around and it grabs all of our data and information, and now they're having a blast with that.
Yeah,
Their
and
planet.
there's a ton of, like, cool
Yeah.
science fiction books about this stuff. But all right, so now, last thing before the theories is there's this thing that they use to talk about this type of stuff. They call the Kardashev scale of civilization. So there's 3. It's a number 1 on the Kardashev scale of civilization is almost where we're at, where a species has control over all and is able to, like, control all the energy production in its own planet. That's like a number 1 on the Kardashev scale. A number 2 would be if they were able to, like, hijack and get energy from like a star, or like
solar power.
kind of, but more intense than that.
But like take that star and
Yeah,
use
like-
it
Suck the
up.
life out of it.
yeah, like an example that they use a lot is, like, if you, like, I guess theoretically you could take a red dwarf and make, like, this huge, like almost like half the size of our solar system sphere around it, and they call that a I don't know how to say that, matryoshka brain is what they call it. And it's like, you could have, like, the first layer that's closest to the sun takes energy from that heat, but then it gives off a lot of heat, and then the second layer generates, like, steam from the heat or whatever, and then the third layer takes that heat and then
Keeps it
releases
going.
heat, and it just goes all the way out. Okay. And then the third one would be, like, a galactic civilization that can control and, like, takes energy from, like, the entire galaxy, which is, like, kind of intense, but, like, that's just their way of thinking about these things, because it's also, like, huge. All right. Theories. Got planetarium hypothesis. That was the simulation that Chase was talking about, where either we're a part of a simulation, or our solar system is, in a simulation, so we think that it's larger than it is, but it's really just like us, and then we're being kind of controlled from the outside. So that's one theory.
And the technology is the technology thing. Technology's so great we wouldn't notice. Or
Yeah.
whatever,
Right.
but,
Yeah.
we can comprehend.
Truman Show.
Like Men in Black.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Like Men in Black.
Yeah. There's the SETI paradox, so that's the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. The same people as earlier, they have their own paradox, which is
You gotta get your own paradox.
Dude, you gotta call that.
yeah.
I got two of them. Paradox.
And the SETI paradox is maybe everyone's listening and no one's responding. So basically, like, just no one cares.
Is it?
Yeah, like we're just not interesting enough for any of those civilizations to
Yeah.
like want to actually contact us. There's the zoo hypothesis, which is like that they're leaving us alone. Like we would like try to preserve like a habitat for like animals. They're just leaving us and trying to let us like naturally take our course or whatever. And that there's another theory I really like called the Great Filter Theory, which is that it's actually way harder for life to evolve than we think it is. And that one gets into this whole like kind of like a bottleneck idea of like there's only so many planets where it's going to be the right conditions for these certain chemicals to combine and form and replicate and slowly become life. And then there's just all these other filters of like, and how much of that life is successful and how much of that life becomes intelligent and how much of that intelligent life doesn't cause climate
Doesn't try to destroy the world. The rest of it.
Yeah, it doesn't nuke itself into non-existence.
A lot of factors.
Yeah. And there's a lot of like periodic extinction ideas of like how common is it for like meteor like how the dinosaurs got taken out. Like is that common? Like how often does that happen? Like we just don't know. There's also something called the Berserker hypothesis, which is
I know you love this one.
it's named after a science fiction book series, but there's also sometimes they say gray goo, sometimes they say Berserker hypothesis, but basically this idea is that if there's intelligent life, the only way for it to make sense would be if it was sending these probes, and not just the probes, but it was sending like replicating non-organic life, like not like going at themselves, but they made robots that would go and they would just like completely disassemble a planet, turn it into resources, and then build more robots and send them out and just kind of take over the universe that way.
The iRobot theory.
Yeah. Not quite, but close.
The they robot theory.
Yeah. That's Isaac Asimov, but I appreciate you getting like I feel like you're
I'm trying to make it work.
You are, man. I'm proud of you. Yeah.
The Myers hypothesis.
Yeah.
I like it.
Paradox.
And then there's
Guys, come on.
there's a creepy one called the Dark Forest hypothesis.
Ooh, I like it creepy.
Yeah, it's a little creepy. There's actually a guy wrote a book called The Dark Forest. I think it's just called Dark Forest, but it's been around since like '86, I think. But the idea is that like the universe is not like a bunch of us trying to reach out to each other. The universe is more like a dark forest full of like hunters and predators who don't want to like signal to anyone else that they're there for fear of like getting taken out, and we're just the only one firing like just satellites
Shooting
out there,
UFOs
like,
out the sky.
is anybody out there? We like ET.
Come on now, we won't hurt you.
Yeah, we got Reese's Pieces. Get out here. So there's and then my favorite one I think is the Matryoshka brain that I brought up, like the Russians.
Don't make sense to me.
Right. So the way I think about that one, and this is not exactly like I just told you kind of how like the Matryoshka brain thing would work, but the hypothesis here that I wanted to get in would be that like technology and information is moving so fast, we're moving towards what they call a singularity, which have you guys heard of that?
I have. It also means nothing to me.
Yeah, it's just very common. The singularity is just supposed to be some point where we become one with like technology because it's advanced so much and it just kind of like consumes us and we become one. So like a way to think about that is they use something called a Jesus unit, which is that when Jesus was alive, they say the amount of technology we had when Jesus was alive, they call that one Jesus unit. And they said the amount of information we had doubled by 1,500, and that was 2 Jesus units. And the amount of information we had by 1750 was 4 Jesus, then 1900 8 Jesus, 1950 16 Jesus, 1960 32 Jesus.
Jesus Christ!
So that's
Yeah.
the growth
Just
from
keeps
50 to
going.
60 is 32 Jesus.
Right.
So every 10
Wow.
years.
And then no,
Well, no, it
getting
eventually
smaller.
got
it gets
shorter and
faster to
shorter.
the
Oh,
point
okay.
where
I was like,
1973 they were like that's 128 Jesus, and now they say it actually doubles twice a year.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you think
I
but
certainly feel like I cannot keep up.
no, but
No,
but
for
that's the
real,
thing
though.
is like how could we?
Yeah.
We didn't evolve or we're not designed
Yeah.
for this type of thing. It's just what naturally seems to happen with information. So then the question is, would another civilization that was on the same track as us, like once they get to that peak point of like information, and it's just like you have to start basically going into like transhumanism and like changing yourself in order to deal with all the information that you're presented with.
Black Mirror.
Right. And then the singularity is basically
Also
like
not written.
yeah. The idea is that we just find a way to like digitize ourselves and upload our consciousness to
Yeah.
technology, right?
Like
And-
upload.
Right. Yeah. These ideas are out there, guys. So and
I
then
told you no one writes this.
no one writes
Reality.
it. No one writes it.
This has been happening.
Yeah.
So somewhere out there, a berserker is watching a show and then wearing it, and it's called Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Yeah.
But the
I appreciate you sticking that one out and making it.
I'm sure
I'm looking at the notes too.
I'm sure that hypothesis has a name, but basically the way I think about it is like maybe you get stuck at like a 2 on the Kardashev scale where you have the ability to take over the energy of like a small star and then digitize like everybody's minds, and then you just like, you know, why would they come and see us if they had everything they could possibly
All the info
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. So yeah, those are
What's your favorite is the brain theory, the
stacking
Matryoshka
one?
brain.
I think my 2 favorites are I like the Great Filter one. I like the idea that like not that I like it, I just find it very interesting
Yeah.
that like inherently for a civilization to get advanced to a certain point, they're going to like kill themselves off. And the reason why I like that is like not something they talk a lot in like the old sci-fi, but I think is like more prescient now, which is that like what's becoming clear with our forward progress like as a species is that we're really being held back by a lot of our just like the way our brains and our bodies like evolved in terms of like just surviving.
Not
and
me.
then a lot of these things
Perfect.
are yeah so now we're like able to be manipulated if people can like you know in different ways by social media and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
our
it's like
stupid brains.
are we self-destructive in a way that like we can
Yeah.
only get so far and then it all crumbles below us, you know?
Yeah.
Either that or we just, you know, you can't get that far without cutting your legs out from underneath you. Or I also like the nicer version of that is the Matryoshka brain, where it's like you get to the point where you don't need like to be bodies anymore and you can just digitize yourself and like live forever in this like
Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to do that though. Like, let
Yeah.
me just,
You want to be in The Sims?
nah, I'm good. Like, let it just end. But I do
Yeah.
think that might happen though.
yeah.
Because, I mean, it's already, like, slowly happening, you know? Like, pacemakers and little things are just like, oh, that's all fucked. Put a new, like, it's
Yeah.
metal, all of it. Keep going.
I like the zoo and the planetarium too to some degree. Just to be like, yeah, they found us. They're like watching us like we're little ants or whatever in there.
You don't think that's
Exactly.
creepy?
Of course, it's creepy.
I think it's creepier if
Yeah,
you're
but-
human.
But I think,
Yeah.
and then I think that it really doesn't disturb our situation. Like those don't really imply that anything's going to get worse.
Yeah,
So,
that is true.
that works for me.
All right. No change.
Yeah. I don't know, though. It'd be cool if they would help. Like, if they see, like, somebody's
I mean,
stuck
you
there,
could
like, they're
help.
about to
I'm not-
nuke each other.
Break
Like,
it
y'all
up, break
can't,
it up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all can't be like, yo.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a very common thing that they talk about, where it's like, how likely is it that they would be like trying to help us out versus just trying to like swoop in, take all our resources, and bounce? You know what I mean? Like that's probably what they would like
Most likely.
if they
That's what
interacted
we
with
would
us.
do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the example is like if you went to a forest. There's a bunch of squirrels that were like really intelligent. You'd be like, "Wow, that's really cool." Well, we're gonna take all these trees though.
Yeah.
Like, we have to build houses and whatever.
Yeah.
Touche.
Yeah. How about you, Chase?
What you mean? Oh, what's my favorite?
Yeah.
Chase-
What are you feeling?
the
What's
mind
your
paradox.
theory?
Oh man, I don't know.
Yeah.
I did like Aaron's. I do. That also kind of like makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Of like the yeah, I don't know. I don't have a favorite. It's all interesting.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a bow I can throw on this anyway.
Okay.
Because I watched this documentary on Netflix called Trip to Infinity, which is really interesting if you haven't seen it. It's just kind of like very mathematical. It's a bunch of mathematicians and physicists sitting down and talking about the actual idea of infinity, because what they think now is that the universe isn't infinite. They think it's finite, and it's huge,
Yeah.
but it's finite, and they think that it's kind of like,
what's out beyond that? That's crazy.
yeah, well, it's supposed to, like, space-time is very complicated. It, like, turns and whatever. Yeah, there's movies. But,
Exactly.
They can explain it.
Exactly.
But not written movies.
I mean, they wrote them, but it was based on true stories.
Yeah.
Everything. I'm just kidding.
But it's just interesting because, when you hear them talk, like, they don't know for sure. They're just kind of theorizing. But there's this really interesting idea that, like, it's very possible the only thing that's infinite in the entire universe is human creativity.
Damn.
Somebody's gonna put that on there
Podcasts.
as a Facebook post.
Yeah.
That's some inspirational shit.
Yeah. Oh, they already have, my friend.
Yeah.
That's making the rounds.
Of course.
Dang, that's crazy though.
Isn't that interesting? Especially if, like, there's that other thing where it's like, assuming there's other life out there, is using something called the mediocrity principle, which is saying that we're not special, like, or there's nothing special
what are the
about
odds that we would be this most?
Yeah, it's like if you
advanced?
take a random sample of something, it's probably going to be out of the, more common than the less. You're not going to grab, like, something from, like, if you grab, like, you have, like, a bunch of marbles and most of them are red, and you grab one, it's probably going to be red. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then there's another one called
And we're a grabbed marble in that scenario.
Yes.
Yeah, you're just a regular marble.
Yeah, so that's what we start with, and where, like, we assume most of them are like us, versus the rare earth hypothesis, which is just that, like, it's infinitely hard to create intelligent life, and we're the only ones. And if that is the case, then truly, I think there's a chance that human creativity is the only thing that's infinite, which I think is a really cool little bow to put on top of that.
Great segment, Trangus.
Thank you.
I like the ending.
Yeah.
Space Trangus.
Yeah, I worked hard.
Both in face.
Blunt people go into space.
Cha. I'll be the robot.
Isn't.
Danger, Chase Myers. Danger.
All right, it's my turn.
Yes.
All right. So I'm gonna do another sports one, obviously. I wanted to look up like fun contract incentives, like goofy stuff in people's contracts.
This
I
is
like
terrific.
it.
Yeah, I like those. If you watch, like, if you're an NFL fan and if you watch the last game of the season, there's all these like people who are like, oh, if this dude gets 4 more catches, it's $100,000 or whatever, and it adds this like extra little. So I was looking up just like, oh, what are some other fun stuff like that? I compiled a list.
I'm surprised that those are available for our viewing.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, that's the thing about being an athlete. Your shit's just out there.
Yeah.
Like, just everybody knows.
Just public info.
Yeah, everybody just knows like how much you make, and how much
What
of
kind
it
of
is guaranteed.
fake-ass foundation
how
you
much?
set up.
Yeah, right.
Or stole from.
All right. There's a baseball player named Roy Oswalt. He played for the Astros in 2005. He was pitching in the series before the World Series. If they won, they go to the World Series. And the owner of the Astros asked him what he wanted, and he told him he wanted a bulldozer. And he said, all right, if you win this game, I will buy you a bulldozer. And he won the game, and he bought him a bulldozer. But because it was like some fancy, like, literally, I looked it up, it says like a $200,000
Bulldozer.
tractor,
Damn.
bulldozer, like all around. It was too big of a gift to just give it to him, so they had to add it into his contract as like an incentive. So like,
What did he do with it?
Legal. I have no idea.
Is he making a killdozer?
I thought about that immediately. There's a great documentary me and Travis love called Tread, where which you guys should check out. It was on Netflix at one point. Where it's basically just this crazy man felt like the town did him wrong, and he built a bulldozer that could not be, like, you could not bring it down, and he just started bulldozing the town, and it would happen in Colorado. It was
We caught
crazy.
this on camera?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, because the news eventually came out to it, and they're like, how are we gonna stop him?
People are like, please
Stop, please stop. And he thought of like everything about it. Like he thought of like how to like clear off the rubble as it like fell on the, and yeah.
Was he taking people out?
No, he actually didn't kill anybody, which is surprising. I think he would have, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think he would have if it gone long enough.
they-
Yeah, you don't build a killdozer
Yeah.
without, you know.
Killdozer's our term, by the way. He
Okay.
never says
I was
killdozer.
like-
Yeah, that was, yeah.
But man, the balls on that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might just tell that story next time.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's a great one.
That's a
Bulldozer.
fun
Bulldozer.
one. Michael Jordan's got a couple great ones, obviously. So one thing, whenever he retired from the NBA the first time and he went to go play minor league baseball, a big thing that came up was like, man, he's losing so much money. Minor league baseball players don't, they make like a regular living. They make, $40,000, $50,000 a year and stuff. Well, the owner of the Chicago Bulls also owns the Chicago White Sox. So while he was playing minor league baseball, he was making $4 million a year. He had the exact same contract as he did playing for the Bulls as he did playing minor league baseball.
Just sitting here striking out.
Yeah, batted 2. Yeah, he batted 2. I actually,
Yeah, what's the stats?
I have the theory that given enough time, he would, because he batted like 202.
Oh, he would have been incredible.
He batted 202
That's not
in a
bad,
year
yeah.
for
Yeah.
somebody who hadn't played baseball really at like
In the, what,
he
20
played
years,
in high
probably,
school,
yeah.
kinda like he was more.
Yeah.
And so for you to jump in and bat 202,
In the
people like to
major-
shit.
in the
Yeah,
leagues,
people
yeah.
like to shit on him, but to me, I'm like that's
Yeah,
impressive.
you didn't even
and,
play in college. Yeah, that is pretty good.
And he's crazy competitive. So like
Yeah.
he would have
Really,
Oh,
like
he
there was a
would've
period
got
of his life where like any sport, I feel like he put himself 100% into.
He's
He
a good
would've-
golfer.
Yeah.
Like he's.
Yeah.
I mean, and really, if you look at it, he only came back to the NBA. A part of it was that Major League Baseball went on strike in '94,
Yeah.
and so there were no games. And
Oh,
Michael
yeah.
Jordan has
Like-
to do something. So that
Yes, it could
also
be.
that also came into him being like, well, I'm gonna go back to the NBA. People don't talk about that much, but like if they don't go on strike, he may just stay trying to play baseball.
Yeah.
And and he had this whole thing if he was doing it for his dad. His dad always wanted to play ball.
Oh,
His dad
yeah.
passed away, and so I think there's a there's a timeline where he does that, where he just stays playing baseball.
He's still playing to this day.
Right. Yeah.
He's a bad boy.
Another funny thing in his NBA contract was it was the love of the game clause, is what they called it. Sometimes teams will do these things where they're like, in the off season, you can't go ride a dirt bike.
Yeah.
You can't go do
Bust
you
your
can't go
ass.
do
Get
these
hurt,
things. Are
yeah.
gonna hurt you. Sometimes they'll be like, you can't go play basketball. Like you can't go play.
Yeah.
Pickup games and nothing like that. You might twist your ankle doing that. Jordan had a contract where he could play anywhere, do whatever he wants. If he wants to walk up to a playground and
Yeah.
Challenge
play with a
somebody.
bunch of kids, he could
Yeah.
do it, and
Yeah.
it was totally okay.
Just totally
And-
something he did.
Yeah, and which he absolutely
Dunking
did.
on
That-
6-year-olds.
Yeah, yeah.
there is like that I've seen videos of him just playing in random tournaments in like Japan, and you're like, what is Michael Jordan doing? And it's like he's just he's Michael Jordan.
Spinning his
Right.
wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love the game.
Or just at like random basketball camps, like with OJ Mayo, right?
Right, yeah, where he had to prove a point against OJ Mayo. That was a
Right.
very popular story. OJ Mayo was back in the day, he was like a very high rated high school prospect, college prospect. He's at an event where Jordan's at or whatever, a camp, and he's like talking shit to Jordan, and Jordan embarrassed him very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and OJ Mayo never became the player that everybody thought
Yeah.
that he was gonna be.
Yeah, that tracks.
Let's see.
Love of the game.
Rognig Odor. I forget I'm pretty sure that's how you say his name. He plays for the Rangers. He's the guy that a couple years ago got in that like fight where he got like a really good punch in on Batista or whatever. That was like a viral moment. He got in a fight in the game. He laid this dude out. Most of the time when fights happen in sports, it gets broken up. Nobody really does a punch. He got a real one in, and he really rocked this dude. But it turns out he's hella into horses, and whenever he signed his contract extension, which was 5 years, $49 million, also included in that were 2 horses.
Man.
Okay.
Where does he keep those horses?
He's got a farm and stuff.
ranch
Yeah,
out there.
he's got a ranch.
Was it in the contract? Did it say what type of horses?
I believe so.
It'd be funny if they were
Beautiful
like,
horses.
let's get him some.
Give him a
Some
couple
little
ponies.
ponies.
Go down to the glue shop, pick him up a couple cheap ones.
Get him a seahorse. Here you go, bud.
I'll use it, but it's not what I wanted.
There's this baseball player I've actually never heard of. His name is Charlie Kerfield. He played in the 80s for the Astros. Apparently, he had like a great rookie year, and he was like a weirdo. This one's more just on the weirdo side.
Okay.
He wore the number 37,
Mm-hmm.
and so like when he got his contracts, like the dollars were like $1,000,000.37 or whatever. Like it always had 37 in it, and part of his contract was he wanted 37 boxes of orange Jello. And so they got him 37 boxes of Jello. Some of this almost like crosses into like Ryder territory.
Yeah.
That's what I was kind of thinking. Yeah.
I wonder if these guys have a rule that's like, man, don't do your contract when you're hungry.
Right. Think about it.
What's it hurt?
Right, he got it.
Yeah.
He got it. They accepted. They were like, yeah, I mean, sure, man, if that's what you
37
want.
boxes, that's not that.
It's not going to make or break a contract.
It's not taking up a room at the house or anything.
I want a Denver omelet delivered to me every Saturday
You get sick
morning.
Of that. That's true.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Diana Taurasi is a WNBA player. She's a very great player.
Also in Space Jam 2.
Also in Space Jam 2.
Are you talking
Oh,
about the
is she?
LNBA?
Yes. The Ladies National Basketball Association. Yes. As most people know, she's like one of the higher paid WNBA players, and that only comes up to like $120,000 a year or something like that. And so
Only.
for I mean,
Well,
No, I know, but...
You heard $49 million and 2 horses a second
right,
ago.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
Yeah.
I was just trying to say, like, she's still doing good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, she
better
could be like 2 years in at Amazon with that sound.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's a good point. Don't ask a comic for, like, context when it comes
Like, no,
to
that's fine. I'll take that. I'll take
Yeah.
that. Did she turn that down?
Bro, I'll take
it.
$120,000.
I'm in the ladies NBA now.
Travis is the new Joanna man.
Also not written.
No, that
Very
happened.
true. Very true. So what a lot of WNBA players do is in the off season they go play in other countries. Russia is a popular place that a lot of them go play.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Well, you don't bring your
Not
vape
if you
with you.
smoke weed.
Yeah. Wow.
So she got whatever team she was playing for in Russia was like crazy rich. She actually made $1.5 million in the
Damn.
off season with them, and then
So disrespectful.
Right?
We're so
Right.
disrespectful.
Yeah,
Oh my
and
God.
so that was her contract with them, and they actually negotiated a contract with her where they call it the paid vacation, where you sit out the next WNBA year, and we'll pay you that $120,000 that they're going to pay you.
Yeah.
Just sit it out, and that way you can be healthy for next year when you come back to Russia.
Wow.
Whoa.
And so she sat out the 2015 year because Russia paid her to.
So did that
yeah.
wind up getting her paid more by the WNBA?
No, she just the next year just
we
went
don't
back to
have
a,
this money.
yeah. The next year they just went back to a normal
We're
contract.
spending it on the
and-
boys.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you.
Have you seen LeBron James?
Not enough to go around. Not
Yeah,
enough to
we
go
gotta
around.
give it all to him.
Oh my God.
Ichiro has a pretty funny one.
Oh,
Which, because of course he does.
Does it have something to do with the Ichiro rap?
It does not, unfortunately. Yeah, this was in 2007. So he signed an extension. It was 5 years, $90 million. $90 million, which meant $17 million a year was the way it broke down. He also got like a $5 million signing bonus. His family got 4 trips first class from Japan to the United States a year, round trip. That was included in it, all that. But the thing that sticks out as the funny part was he also got his rent paid. He had 40.
As if he couldn't pay.
Yeah. He got a $90 million contract, but also $40,000 a year for his rents.
Amazing.
That is wild.
Oh man, Ichiro is like a renting king.
Yeah.
He figured it out.
He's got a real shithole apartment.
He's living above the comedy underground in like 2001.
It's close to work.
Yeah.
Let's see. Manny Ramirez. You guys know Manny Ramirez?
Sounds so familiar.
Yeah, he played for the Red Sox back when they were like
Oh, okay.
first winning the World Series. He was also like just like a known goof. Like he was real silly and stuff. He played for Boston. There was like a famous moment where like during like a new pitcher was coming out and you can like walk into the scoreboard. It's the big scoreboard on the field, and he just went and sat in the scoreboard and like waited until like the next pitch like for the game was before he came back out. One time he like caught a ball running and just decided to keep like his momentum led him to the wall and ran up the wall, high-fived a fan. The play's live, a guy's running, he high-fived a fan, came down through it. Like he was just always doing goofy stuff like that. So after he retired in 2017, he decided to go play in Japan. He went down playing, and part of the contract that they gave him was unlimited sushi.
Whoa,
From
that rules.
Anywhere? Is that
Just-
redeemable? All yeah.
Japan says,
We as
feed
a-
this man sushi.
We as a nation have agreed.
The Kochi Fighting Dogs. That was the name of the team.
Whoa, did he get mercury poison from eating? 'Cause I
I
would
did.
have. Right, they were like, you can eat as much as you want. I would be dead within
All
like 4
day.
days.
All day.
There's so
man.
many different varieties.
Yeah.
You eat that for a while.
Raleigh Fingers was a baseball player in the 70s. He's a relief pitcher. He was known for having a mustache that had like the twisted thing,
Yeah.
and he ended up like kind of branding it.
What
right?
was up with his fingers?
It was just good.
That's just his last name. Just have big fingers.
Really long.
And it turns out that that ends up being it's like a brand for him, is like the
Those
twisty
mustache,
things, right? But it turns out that wasn't even like. It was actually, they had a player, Reggie Jackson, signed with the Oakland A's. He had a mustache. Back then, a lot of teams had like you had to be clean shaving rule.
Oh, yeah.
Reggie Jackson was very good, so they're like, you can have a mustache. And
Yeah.
then what the owner decided to do to have a little fun was like, why don't we let the whole team, we'll all grow mustaches. If you can grow a mustache by, I think it was Father's Day was the day. If you can grow, I don't know how long, when he said this and what but
Yeah.
Father's Day was the cutoff. And you'll get, and it was like small, it was like you'll get $100
Yeah.
bonus, whatever, small bonus, right?
Who?
So Raleigh does it, and then he gimmicks it because he does the twisty
Yeah.
mustache.
Yeah, little
So he gets that $100, and then now because it's become like a gimmick for him, he worked in to where he gets. I'm sorry, it was actually $300 was the bonus that everybody got. So he got the $300 bonus, but then worked it in. Now that the mustache is like his thing, he gets $100 allotment for mustache wax every year.
I have one question about that story.
Yeah.
So they said if you can grow a mustache by this point, was there a guy who got to decide whether or not you could grow a mustache?
Just getting in there.
Like, was there someone just just sweating with like a 7th grade, like little
Drawing
Miss
it in.
Bates?
Little peach fuzz.
I got it, Coach. I've been taking supplements for 2 months. I
I'm a
haven't
man,
had a
too.
solid shit in a week now.
Let's see. I got 2 more. One is George Brett was a baseball player in the 80s. He played for the Kansas City Royals. Kansas City wanted to keep. He was like, he won the World Series with them. He was like known as like their most famous player. He kind of today still is their most famous Royal
What's
of
his
all
name?
time. George Brett.
Okay.
Most people actually know him from, there was a pine tar incident way back when. He hits a home run, and then there's like this weird rule that's not really a rule, but it's like you can't have pine tar so far up your bat or whatever.
Oh, is
and
that for sticking your hands
yeah,
to
pine
it?
tar
Or
is like
it
just to have a
sticky?
good grip on the
Okay.
bat or whatever. And I guess his bat was actually like he had it going too far up his bat, which doesn't affect anything, but it is a weird rule that was in the rule book. The Yankees knew this, and they said, "Hey, y'all need to check that bat out. He's got too much pine tar on it." They checked it,
Try
and they
marks.
said, "You know what? It's not a home run. He's out." And then he ran out of the dugout furious, like they had to separate him, and it was like it's just this great moment because he's just like. I mean, he looks like running of the Bulls style, like coming out the. That's what most people know him for. But he was also actually a very great Hall of Fame baseball player. So the Kansas City Royals are trying to figure out ways to keep him connected to Kansas City. The owner of the Royals owned a bunch of apartment buildings and stuff like that, and so they actually gave him. Let's see how they say this. Let's see. The Royals decided to use this as their advantage and offered Brett a 10% stake in a 1,000-unit development. He took the deal and was guaranteed $1 million in cash flow and the chance to sell his piece back to the Royals for $2 million. So they basically made him a landlord of in Kansas City.
That's great.
So yeah, I don't know if he ended up keeping it or if he ended up
Wow.
selling it back or whatever. But for a little while, he was just gifted some apartment buildings of like, yeah, man, you whatever money they make, that's yours. You can have it. And yeah.
Wow.
And you know that's how they advertise those apartments too.
Right.
It's like, live with a superstar.
Yeah.
Where the champions lives.
Yeah. That would be terrible. Every time you leave, everybody's like, there he is. Can I get a photo?
Yeah, and they know which apartment you're in.
Yeah.
All right, this is the last one. This one's kind of ridiculous. I mean, they're all ridiculous, but this one is. This one, even what he asked for, it makes me laugh because it doesn't quite. So Bill Walton.
Hey, Big Red.
Big Red. He was he played for the Portland Trailblazers in the 70s. He's still well known. He's like an announcer now.
Is that
and
Luke
stuff
Walton's
like that.
dad?
Luke Walton's dad.
Okay.
Pretty good, actually.
And he good job. In 1979, 1980, he decided to sign with the then San Diego Clippers. That was before they moved to LA. And part of why he signed there, in a weird stipulation he had, was that Bruce Springsteen, which I see your Bruce Springsteen book right there, which made me laugh.
The boss.
That Bruce Springsteen was doing 8 shows in that San Diego arena or whatever, and Bill Walton didn't want to have to deal with buying them secondhand and the prices going up. So he negotiated that he would be allowed not even the tickets, just to buy them at face value for those 8 performances, and that was the clause. Yeah, sure, man. We'll let you know when they go on sale, and you can
At the
have
arena.
them. And you can have them. You could probably get in free. Honestly, you're Bill Walton. You could probably, and you play for this team.
No, I'd like to pay my $25.
No, I want to pay much. I just don't want to pay 50 from some guy. That was he was.
From outside.
Yeah, he was worried about scalpers. He didn't want to pay the scalping money.
It's about principle with Bill Walton.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I thought those were funny incentives.
Those are great.
Yeah.
Got me thinking of it's crazy what you can make happen if you if rich people need something from
If you're valuable enough to them, you can you can get 2 horses. And
what's the crazy?
You get a bunch of Jello. You could get
What would I get?
Apartment building.
Let's say it's next year, and you get a wild thing on your rider. What are you going for?
Oh man.
Oh, fuck yeah, I don't know. After that,
Because I'm like,
I gotta
no
dream
offense,
bigger.
but you guys shouldn't get horses at this point.
What about
Oh yeah, I understand.
We said next year, Aaron.
No, I'll be the first. I'll be the first road comic traveling around on a Clydesdale. I'll be like the mailman. You guys see that movie? Post-apocalyptic.
Need a place to put my horse.
You're in the
I
back.
travel from town to town.
Where's your guys' stable?
Yeah, but get that property. That's what you should get.
I would.
Get some...
I think I would get property in the middle of nowhere, and then I would build a compound on it like Doug Stanhope did, and just
There you go.
have fun with the rest of my life.
Angus Camp.
Yeah. Make whiskey, I'd grow weed. Yeah.
All types of stuff.
Put it in the rider.
Mhm.
I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I would do.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of those, movie stars and stuff end up having I need my whole house to be here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When I need, I remember Clooney would be I need a basketball court. I like to play basketball, and so they would have make a court on ER so that he could play during when he wasn't shooting and stuff.
Yeah, because sometimes with some of those actors, the amount that you're paying them, sometimes even if they're asking for something crazy, within context,
You
it's
gotta
such
keep
a
them
small
happy.
amount of money.
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
also
just
that,
pay, just pay, you know.
Yeah, and I would use that was ER era.
Yeah.
So
that was
it's
big.
you got to show up, and with the athletes that are showing up every day somewhere, where they got to live in the area and all that. It's, get that set up.
Ichiro's not living here if you don't pay his rent.
If you don't pay my rent, I'm gonna live in Eugene, Oregon, and I'm gonna take a private jet every day, and
Right.
nobody's gonna be happy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be late all the time.
It might not even come. If the weather's bad.
90 mil for 5 years is just not enough. It's just not enough incentive for me to come to work.
Or to pay rent in this city.
I'll be at the games.
One thing Ichiro hates, writing a check.
You will not.
Yeah. Well, good job, Jace.
Yeah,
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Hey. All right. I'm so curious now, Aaron.
Okay.
Every time.
Let's hope the computer's alive for the notes.
Aaron, we did get a
I do know what you were about to say. Please share it with the crowd.
we got a comment from someone looking for more personal attacks.
I heard your comments, and I have come with a personal attack.
Yay!
What if I dox the person that comes?
That would be the best.
The personal attack is just against him.
Just pull up their
You
pictures.
get what you fucking ask for, comment pal. No,
Just
you have
see our
a good point.
YouTube subscribers go from 23 to 22.
No, I appreciated it. It was because it was our first in person that I thought that snacks were so pertinent, and also I'm just passionate about snacks. So
You don't have to explain.
Thank you,
Yeah,
baby.
we got you back.
You know what? But I do. We'll get back in the hacks, but today it's a personal attack, and it's on a favorite villain who just won't die, and that is the music entertainment business is Chris Brown.
Oh,
Okay, I can't wait.
Personal
Okay.
attacks.
So-
I was just in Vegas like a couple
Yeah?
days ago, and he's about to do a show there. There was
Oh, so it's
posters all over the
everywhere.
place.
Oh, yeah. So the thing about this guy, among millions of them, is that he just recently on like social media and stuff has been like, wah, 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 everybody still hates me for beating the shit out of my girlfriend one time, as though he's facing disproportionate
Right.
punishment for having put Rihanna in the hospital. In the year was 2009. Okay, so
Dang, it was that long ago.
it was, yeah.
It
That's
doesn't feel that long.
So-
Anyway.
Yeah.
you all remember this era
Yeah.
vaguely. They were dating for several years. They had this. Yeah, they got. I never watched I don't care to watch his like explanation of what happened or whatever. It was.
No, I
just,
saw her face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
saw
yeah.
the
Yeah,
picture.
she was broken.
She didn't fall.
And not to get ahead of ourselves here, but you said Chris Brown was doing Vegas residency.
Well,
This-
maybe not resident. He was at least doing a show.
What was the last thing that Rihanna did?
Was she up there?
Sorry, I had to get that in there.
She got going
That's
on?
like probably actually more like what he's like. I think that.
He's like, why isn't she being punished? Why is she getting opportunity?
Yeah.
No one wants to hear my
She-
side.
She let me beat the shit out of her all those years ago.
And I haven't been asked to do the Super Bowl. Not once.
Yeah, right. So, people, basically, this is just the kind of shit that I can't stand, whiny baby stuff from somebody that has a Las Vegas residency and is, I just did, from my research, remains one of the like top selling R&B artists of all time. He right after this like was public, he still went like gold and beyond with his records and was in like Billboard top 200s or whatever of albums and all this stuff. In the scheme of things, did he go to fucking jail? Did he like
Nothing
deserve-
really it's just sometimes people bring up
Yeah,
that he
it's
was
in
a
a-
shitty
Yeah.
person.
So he
And,
feels
yeah.
that he's being punished to
Yeah.
to no end. That basically he this is what I'm trying to find
He
his
might have went to jail because I remember people do with all the probation. I'm like he doing, but like no serious time. If anything, he spent the night and then got probation.
exactly. So he's like
Oop.
venting on. Sorry, this is
Yeah,
old
we see the
pictures. Don't want to see
pictures.
these. Basically, he recently online, being a dipshit, was like saying stuff like people should kiss my ass if they still hate him for making the mistake of beating the shit out of my girlfriend. This is the quote full of errors here. I'm fucking 33. I'm tired of y'all running with this narrative. Which was this rant that he made online. It's like, okay. So
It's also not a narrative, it's a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's twisted.
Yeah, it wasn't created out of no.
Yeah.
it
It's
was,
not fictional.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, you're making me out to be this monster because, one, oh no, wait, multiple times I've been at least accused of
Yeah.
hurting people. So I found some other, anyways, he's just like, clearly not suffering for it. He's not living in poverty on the fucking streets, just
Yeah.
like your
No, he
Louis
didn't fall off
CK's.
at all.
Yeah.
Dude, I see Chris
Like-
Brown like just passing through Instagram
Yeah.
All
at
the
various
time.
times. Yeah.
All
He
the
might have
time.
lost a few.
The Explore
followers, but
page,
that's
I'll just
about
see
it.
him
Exactly.
dancing
Some
in
people
some
won't
club.
work with him.
Yeah.
There's some gigs that he won't get. Like in the immediate aftermath, I think there was like a tour that was threatening to be canceled or
There was,
whatever.
Oh.
I would say like that year
Mm-hmm.
after he may have got some real like people not fucking with him type
Mm-hmm.
thing. But then like the next year, I remember him performing at like the BET Awards or
Oh,
like
yeah.
he did like a Michael Jackson
that was
like
the Mi-
tribute.
Oh, the tribute.
So it was
yeah.
the Michael Jackson
And-
tribute that like the production company was like maybe gonna pull a
Yeah.
plug on it, and people were like, It was the anniversary of Thriller,
Yeah.
so it was like.
So like someone has to do it.
Yeah, and it was like it's got to be. People were like, "This is bad for black music if we cancel
Yeah.
this because it's disrespecting."
Like,
the
what are you
king of
gonna
pop."
do? Let Omarion do it?
Yeah,
Like,
right. Oh, you can't do it. Okay, so 2009, he pled guilty to a count of felony assault. So he was charged back then. In 2017, his then ex Carucci, I think.
Yeah, Carucci.
Tran got a 5-year restraining order against him because he was supposedly allegedly violent against her, and that was granted.
This fucking narrative.
I didn't even hear about that.
Yeah.
I just knew they had broken up.
Yep. So basically, I think that this is coming up recently because of a new track that's coming out, and like the female singer Chloe Bailey was like, people were probably just like, you remember Chris Brown? Like, so from that, he's like, I can't believe all this backlash is still whatever. He's tired of bringing up his past. But I'm trying to find the other little fun factoid. I don't care about this person, so I'm not going to read that one. But where's just your Wikipedia? So, other legal issues for this dingus. Did y'all know that in 2012, his crew and Drake's crew got into a scuffle?
I did not.
I didn't know.
In New York.
Something tells me Drake was in there saying, "Boys, we have too much to live for."
Drake was just in the back like, no, stop. Don't.
But apparently like 8 people were injured in the fight, including San Antonio Spur Tony Parker, who got
Wait, what? Tony Parker was there?
glass in his eye.
By the way, Tony Parker's a piece of shit. You could totally add him too. So don't
Oh,
feel sorry
is
for
he?
Tony Parker. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. He cheated on
Eva
Eva Longoria
Longoria.
with his teammate's wife.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I knew he cheated. I didn't know it was a teammate.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Wasn't that the
With
year they were in
Brent,
the playoffs too?
with Brent Berry's wife. They were always in the playoffs. So
Yeah, Chase.
I was like, were they in the
With
playoffs?
Brent Berry's wife, and not like Brent Berry's famous wife, more famous, like just regular old,
Regular ass.
like yeah.
Jeez, what a
Wow.
dipshit. Got glass in
Fuck
your
Tony.
eye. You have to visit.
Yeah.
Okay, so fights here and there. In 2013, he was apparently in an altercation with Frank Ocean over a parking spot at a record studio, at a recording studio.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, which I can't see Frank Ocean being a scrapper, but maybe.
Hey.
I feel like Chris Brown also is like hella aggressive.
Yeah,
Like he has like real cokehead energy.
that's
Yeah.
that's a
Always.
really
He always.
He's like
Well,
very
if I'm
aggressive.
Frank-
What are you fucking doing when I'm talking?
Whoa.
Yes.
I just feel like if I'm Frank Ocean and he's getting aggressive, I'm like, if he hits me in the face, that's amazing for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but
I'm
he
gonna make
wants
so
to
much
deal
money.
with
You're right.
that.
You're right.
Because
You're right.
I feel like Frank Ocean is kind of a no drama type of person,
Yeah.
but that's just because it's like, I don't know. He doesn't seem to be like into hype type of
Yeah,
guy. But who knows?
and also
It's a
isn't
different type of R&B
Ocean like
that
hella
he-
small
I don't know. Is he a wee?
compared to Chris? Because Chris Brown's not that small, right?
Chris Brown's like an athlete. He
yeah,
really
he's like
is.
6'1" or
yeah.
2 or at least.
Yeah.
Can we get like one of those
Frank Ocean's gotta be my size.
Frank Ocean's doing fine. He's
Oh,
6'1".
6'1"?
Oh, okay.
little guy?
Put him in the pocket. Strap him on you.
Grandpa backpack.
Meanwhile, Chris Brown is 6'1", so
Oh,
they
yeah.
were eye to eye.
Okay.
Tail of the tape.
okay,
I like. We should put up
right.
a tail of the tape with weights and Chris Brown's fighting record.
Yeah.
There's a bit like each one of these guys like accompanying parties were like the other guys fucking started it. So whatever, where there's smoke, it's fucking Chris Brown is an asshole.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
They always say that.
So he was also involved in a hit and run. An alleged hit and run.
Narrative.
Right. Allegedly.
The charges were dropped eventually, but he did have 1,000 additional hours of community service added to his probation.
Fuck.
The media did that.
It's
Did
like
that to him.
social media even too.
Right.
Cancel culture gave me 1,000 hours of community service.
The thing about social media is I can really spin a narrative by posting a photo of what happened.
Yeah.
Or a
You're always
video.
doing this.
Yeah.
Coming to me with evidence.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Dang, this is worse than I
He's
thought.
storied, dude. He was arrested in 2013 for felony assault in D.C. after refusing to take a picture with a man and punching the man and breaking his nose.
I do actually think I remember that.
Remember that one?
That rings a bell. Yeah.
Yep.
I actually get that one.
I'm on his side. Yeah.
That one was understandable.
Okay, so
That's a
this
lot.
goes on to say like, does he have PTSD and bipolar 2 and et cetera, but just not a good guy making good choices out there in the world and blaming. blaming cancel culture, and also like in this recent post, he's like, "Well, what about all these other guys that beat the shit out of their wives?"
Yeah, I saw that
He's,
post. Like, that was
It's like,
the
we
one
talk about them
everyone was
too.
posting.
Yeah.
We talk about them too.
Yeah,
like
they're dealing
Yeah.
with sort of the same thing as you, which
Yeah.
is not much
Yeah.
at all.
Right.
We're not gonna be
So-
talking good about him in 17
No,
years.
oh my god! But they'll still be fucking fine. Like all
Right.
these guys are so.
No, I don't. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think his career really took a hit at all. There was
No.
like a year where it was kind of like just not
Rocky.
cool.
Yeah,
to be,
but
Yeah.
I'm still happy to
Yeah.
be like, fuck that guy, and like
Yeah.
don't play his song at my wedding or whatever.
Right,
But
yeah.
like that is that hurting his bottom line? Absolutely not. Yes.
No, I bet if you look at his Spotify streams, I bet it's still like
Oh,
crazy.
he's probably
Oh,
like
you
in
already
the top
know.
couple hundred artists.
Yeah.
I bet.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And I don't even know. Did he even come out with anything new lately?
he's about to apparently. That's why he's talking shit.
Oh, okay, okay.
Which
But
building
then
up a
again,
controversy
though,
right
yeah,
before.
I feel like a lot of people are doing
This is
that.
the Roald Dahl effect.
This is,
Yeah.
yeah, you build up that controversy
Make
right
people
before.
notice me.
We're
Yeah,
gonna go
I mean,
listen
there's
to
like
the
an R.
song.
Kelly trap in the
just-
closet thing where he's
Be careful about advising that for anybody.
right. right.
I don't think anyone wants to follow R. Kelly's career path.
That's true. I just meant more that like he just did like a really like soulful like
DVD.
wordy kind of like just
Unhinged
exploration of like
monologue.
all the shit that he
Hold up.
did.
Yeah, what
Did
they
you
call,
just
like,
call
from his
Trapped in the
perspective?
Closet soulful?
I think they called it a hip opera, I believe was the
think-
term.
Hip opera.
I think hip opera was thrown
Yes.
around.
I think
during
that's what
the
he was
day.
going for.
Yeah.
It got wild.
Yeah.
And you know when that like isn't it annoying you never finished it?
No, he did.
Oh, did
There was
you?
like 28 of them.
I know, but all right. Well, then there was definitely a gap before he came back and finished it because whatever he left it at for a while, like 23, like that story was like.
What happens
not-
with the closet?
Yeah, exactly. Like
I
yeah,
feel like
yeah.
every chapter was just like, what?
Do you remember them playing on the radio?
Yeah.
I remember them playing on the radio.
Yeah,
that
me
did not
too.
make it to the West Coast.
Oh,
I don't
well,
know.
in the South is on the
Yeah.
radio.
Like because he didn't drop it all
Yeah,
at
to YouTube
once.
that,
It was
yeah.
like dropping
Oh,
it like
yeah.
daily or something like that. And
Yeah.
so it was like, come back tomorrow for part 15 of Trapped in the Closet. We're gonna see where this goes.
Oh my
You're like,
God.
where did the
Like,
midget come from? Like, I'm gonna watch.
Yeah. No, I mean, I guess that if you're comparing the two of them, and like, I mean, obviously their things are very different, but like people just really fuck with R. Kelly in a way that people don't fuck
Yeah.
with Chris Brown. Whereas like they will get it's the Michael Jackson thing. It's the like
Yeah,
if you put out
cultishness.
enough stuff, like they will just like they will go with
They'll
you.
excuse it.
It
yeah.
wasn't up until like just, R. Kelly just now going to jail that people
Yeah.
finally stopped fucking with it. He tried to put something out like a couple weeks ago, and Spotify
Yup.
pulled it down.
Yup.
Like because that's what he's known his whole life. Oh, they don't like me. I'm gonna put out I Believe I
Yeah.
Can Fly,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna put out something that
Yeah.
I'm gonna put out 12 play. Something's gonna happen, and they fuck. But people don't fuck with Chris Brown like that. So
No,
like,
he doesn't have the like.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the like cultural respect or whatever
Right.
like that like the even
Yeah.
your even like your Louis C.K. types are like
Yeah.
people found R. Kelly to be so seminal to the genre that they're like, well, we can't lose that. Like
Yeah.
that changes
Yeah.
the identity. Chris Brown is like. He came in the zeros, like we already had
Yeah, like
lost.
when we were teenagers.
like
yeah.
we couldn't. He didn't achieve the god status in his genre, so
Yeah.
so he's able to, people do talk shit about him. That's like
Right.
that's
Yeah.
the
That's
pain
all-
that
yeah.
he's suffering
I think
is
you're
that
right.
some people talk some shit
Because
about
I feel
him.
like it took R. Kelly like a while for everything
for everybody
to
to
come
finally
out,
go
like,
fuck
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Like everybody knew an R. Kelly song before they knew
yes,
R. Kelly was a predator.
yeah.
I feel like regardless of how shitty of a person he was, Chris Brown was doomed to fail. Just having to follow like Usher. Like I felt like Usher in the
There's a
moment.
little Usher clone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember that. I
Usher
remember
like,
when
yeah.
Like Incredible Dancer combo.
When he first
right?
came out,
Yeah.
he was on
Yeah,
there with
yeah,
Run
yeah.
and
Yeah.
shit.
And very similar careers. Usher was like 16 when we first heard
Yeah.
of him.
Yeah.
So was Chris Brown.
And we know that
and,
becoming a star too young will fuck you up too,
True,
in
true.
a way. But
at a certain point,
But
like
Miley Cyrus ain't punching people.
that's
right,
true.
that is true. At a certain
Yeah.
point, you have to go. I mean, he said, "I'm 33 years old now." At a certain point, you can't keep.
Bringing
You
up
can't
old
be. Oh, it
shit,
was so
yeah.
tough when I was 16 and got all famous and
Yeah.
stuff like. You've had plenty of time to process that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't blame every time you punch somebody on the fact that you got
Child
real famous
star.
real early.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Very true.
Very true.
So there's our personal attack today. We took down the.
I felt good about it. Too.
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
like,
I'm glad you got
Yeah.
you got heated up about
I
it.
was like,
Yeah.
let me get some hits in
Yeah.
on this.
On Sea Breezy.
Yeah.
This is the first thing that's gonna stick to Chris Brown. I think.
I think we finally got
The
him.
Blood People Takedown.
We finally got him.
Takedown. Personal attack.
and then he's gonna dox us, and we're gonna
Oh,
really
yeah.
suffer.
Like, fuck these
Yeah.
people.
My career will be over. Just like that. It'll take
Just
nothing.
immediately, Chris Brown posts on his Instagram about us.
I would love it. I would love it.
my
I'd go on
I share
CNN, do an
it.
interview. I too was
Show me where we were wrong.
Yeah.
All right, great job, Aaron.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Good job, Aaron.
Great job, blunt people.
People.
Yeah, all of us.
Yeah,
Every single one of us.
Chaka, ooga chaka.
Well, friends, thank you for sticking around with us and enjoying our fun little hangout. And I hope you enjoyed all the fun things that we learned in
That was
our
a good time.
witty,
Yeah, guys.
fun banter. Till next time, wait.